Hello, everyone. It's Susan Gerbeck from Psychics Explained. I am supposed to be doing 5 or 6 other things right at the moment, but I think what I'd like to do, you know, I should be able to do the things I want to do, right? Is I'd like to look at another reading. I absolutely adore looking at readings and going through them, especially when I have no idea what's about to happen. So I have a clip that's from December 3rd. I can't even remember what year. I guess it was 2024. And it is Mark Anthony, who's a lawyer apparently. And I took a clip from him and I've been using it all over my talks. And it's the Giuseppe clip. If you haven't seen it already, it's well, come out to one of my talks when I'm talking about mentalism, and you can and or look at my YouTube channel here. Um, I motioned to my YouTube channel on the screen that's over here as if you guys can see my screen. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so I have this reading. It's 57 minutes long. I I just fast forwarded it to the first reading he does. He does a prayer invocation, sets everybody up for what's to expect, what's to happen, and then he does a prayer. He stops and he's about to do a reading. So let's just look at that reading. I don't know what it's going to be. Let's just look. I'm curious because this is a guy who says he doesn't want any feedback, and I'm not going to play that part for you. But he says that just answer the question. Don't don't rattle on with a bunch of information. Just answer the question that he's asking, and that's it. And this man is well, the only clip I've seen of him, he's cold reading, and he's doing a very bad job of it. Well, anyway, so let me set this up for you. This is a gallery reading. I'm not in attendance of this reading, this gallery reading, and nobody in the group is. Nobody on my team that I is at this reading. It's just something that was up on their YouTube channel, Helping Parents Heal YouTube channel. And I'm not going to block out the people's who appear or their names because they put this up on their YouTube channel with no blockage, no hidden anything. So if there's a person's name there that appears or a person's face or their voice, so be it. They think it's okay. I'm going to not block it out myself. I think he just cold reads, like I said. And so I don't know what to expect here. So let's just check it out and see what might happen. Leave your comments below. I better get my pencil and paper ready because I like doing this kind of stuff. Oh, I was saying this is a gallery reading from December, and there's a bunch of people on the call. I don't know if they're all women, but usually they are. I don't know if there's 500 people there or 30 people there because we can't see the chat and we can't see all the people there. But how these typically happen on this Helping Parents Heal channel is what they do is the medium will start off with a scenario of this. I'm getting a message from this person, and they start describing this scenario. And then the people in the chat who are all muted, they can't speak, interrupt or anything like that. They're chatting, and then they start like competing with each other, saying, "Well, I have a father that fits," or "I have somebody in my family that has that name," or they start competing to be the person who gets the reading, because Mark Anthony, none of these psychics are specific enough to say, "Hey, I'm getting a guy. His name is Joseph Nehemiah Smith, and he is born in 1942. And he wants me to tell you that when he was in the military, he thinks when he was stationed in Germany, he impregnated this woman, and there's a missing child that, and he wants you to know you have a half brother that you never knew about." No, it's never that specific. Never. So these people compete. they compete for it. And it's interesting because what they're saying is so generic that sometimes multiple people will compete for it until they get to a point where I don't know what criteria it is that Mark Anthony or these typically these psychics have. They get to a point where they feel like, okay, that's the one. That's the one I'm feeling. And then they just go and they give the person a cold reading. The people are in grief and they're so excited about getting a reading, they just go with it a lot of time. But as I said, I've only watched one of Mark Anthony's videos uh readings once. So let's see. I mean, I don't know much about him, but I mean his background is pretty interesting with all the things on it. Safari stuff and all that. Very gold, very gold looking. But then again, he's a lawyer or a judge or I don't know what he is. I can't even quite remember now. That's how well I'm paying attention. Okay, so let's look. I don't know if this will be 2 minutes or 5 minutes. Bear with me.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Can I just quickly ask one thing? You were
Certainly.
saying to put their hands up. We always ask everybody to do it in the chat box. It just makes it so the screen doesn't jump
Got
around.
it.
Okay, great. Thank you
Yeah,
so much.
no. Yeah, do as Elizabeth asks, because I'm not going to be watching the chat box. I got a lot going on. Okay, so yeah, do it in the chat box.
Thank
When I was praying, I was getting the image of a younger male. He could have been late teens, could have been early 20s, but he definitely has a teen look, kind of a brownish hair, not real long, but not short. It looked like he had a good physique. And what I'm getting with him is I see him on a beach. He's holding a surfboard. Definitely, this young man really liked the water. Now, with his passing, I'm getting this impact sensation to my head. Let me explain what I mean by that. An impact sensation could mean it could be trauma, but it could also mean an abrupt passing. So, impact to the head could be head trauma, stroke, aneurysm, or quick passing. But in this instance, based on the sensation that I'm feeling, this feels like a trauma. And oh my goodness, this was very intense. Ow. I'm feeling impacts in my head, in my throat, in my knees. And please forgive me, I'm tasting a lot of blood. Now, that does not always mean a bleed out. It could be an internal hemorrhage, but based on the physical sensations that I'm getting, this does feel traumatic. This could be a car accident, automotive, motorcycle, car accident. I'm going to hold position here, but oh, is there a Gary or a Jerry? It could be his name or it could be yours or someone close to him. All right, go ahead.
Okay, so we have Nicole saying that her brother passed in a motorcycle accident, but he was a surfer and he died on an island. Let's see. Then we also have Angie who is saying yes. We need you to write why you're saying yes if you're saying yes. Elena is saying, my son was 28, loved water, fell off the third floor.
Let's
Let's
go to the first one with I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, the one that was the surfer, because I saw him specifically holding a surfboard. So let's bring that person. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt Elizabeth, but that one's resonating with me. And I know that was her brother, but okay.
let
Oh,
me
and somebody in the chat box, they said Jack was his name. Kindly refrain from giving me information unless I ask for it. Okay. And I'm not jumping on your case about that. I want the spirits to give me the information and you validate it. Okay. So who's the person that had the surfer?
Nicole, and I've asked her to unmute. Could you put your hand up, Nicole, when you're unmuting too, please? Can you unmute? It's that button at the bottom left. I think there's only one Nicole in here too.
I'm
So,
unmuted. Can you hear me?
oh
Yeah.
yes,
Hi, Nicole. Hi,
Hi.
Nicole.
wave
Okay.
to me, please. Where
Can
are
you
you?
see me?
See
Yeah.
you. Thank
Hey,
you.
Nicole. How you doing?
Good. Hi.
All right. Now, you said this was your brother?
No, it was my son, but
Okay, go ahead.
my daughter's on as well, and it was her brother.
Oh, okay, okay. I don't want to say fantastic. First off, please accept my deepest sympathy on the passing of your son. But I'll tell you, he is one persistent guy, one persistent guy, and he's a surfer. And okay, now, ow, boy, he's reiterating his passing. It's I'm feeling physical pain, but he wants you to understand that he didn't feel it. It hurt for about 2 seconds. Okay. He said it was over really quick. He said, because he knows that you've agonized about the pain. Does that make sense to you, Nicole?
Yes.
Now, he's switching tracks and he keeps handing you coconuts. And I'm not trying to be funny here, but do you like coconuts, hate coconuts? Some people are allergic. Some people drink coconut milk, but he keeps giving you coconuts. Oh, and when a spirit gives me a piece of information, it's not always about the spirit. Always go with what hits you first. So if I say coconut, think globally. How does coconut make? So you're smiling. So coconut must mean something. No
Yeah.
matter how weird it is. All right, what does it mean?
Could it be a pineapple?
No, it's a coconut.
Coconut.
It's a
Well,
coconut.
he was definitely somewhere tropical. I can say that.
No, that's not that. We understand that. If I say coconut, what does coconut mean to you? Don't worry about how it applies to him. Is his sister in here? Is there any way to bring her up as well? Because she may understand the coconut.
She could unmute.
Okay, this is my son. He stacked coconuts and looked at cha-cha coconuts. All right, we're going to go to that person next. Let me get your message, Nicole. So spirits with a commonality come together. Remember the Paisleys? Well, we got the coconuts here. Okay, so your son's coming in. He was in a tropical place. And let's see what he wants you to know. New tires, new tires, new tires. Are you getting new tires? Just got new tires? Need new tires? I'm smelling new tires. You know, like when you walk in a tire store and you smell those new tires, what's going on with your tires, your car? What's going on with that? Nicole, what's going on with that? You got to unmute, please.
Did you just?
Oh my God. Oh my God. I got world. World is fine. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's just regroup for a second. I am not laughing at the tragedy of this young man's death or the multiple men who have died that have two, maybe three people have claimed that this fit their son or their brother or whatever. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It seems very, very specific, right? Whatever it is he's saying. And he said, young man in his 20s, could be a teen, brown hair, very, very, in good shape, standing with the surfboard, love the water, impact to head, which may or may not have anything to do with an impact to head. It could just mean he died quickly. If it is a person who's in their 20s in very good shape, a male, the odds are he doesn't die of cancer or of some prolonged illness. He's much more likely to die of something that is an accident or a unaliving or a overdose or something of that sort. It's not usually going to be something that's going to be, you know, childbirth, or, well, I guess it couldn't be childbirth, but that kind of situation today in 2024 or 2020 or whenever this death was. So yeah, he's playing the odds right there. He says he's got pain in the knees. He's got he's tasting blood. It was really disgusting what he was saying right there. And there are some mediums who do that. They really get into the details of the death. And I mean, like, it's like they're enjoying it. It just creeps me out. Like, is that really really somebody dies and that is what they want to bring forth, is this feeling of reliving the death for the parent who's grieving. I don't understand that. I don't know what's going on in Mark Anthony's head, if he believes that what he's saying is real, or if he knows that he's embellishing, or he's just free associating in his mind, or he's just making up scenarios for whatever reason to make it as pretty violent as possible for these. Oh, it's just awful. Oh, he said it could have been a motorcycle or it could have been a car. I mean, can't you figure this out? I mean, it seems like that would be pretty obvious. And there could be a Gary or a Jerry, both very common names, and they could be male or female, right? Gary, Jerry, or any Gerald, or you probably might even get Gary. I mean, like gay, or I'm trying to think of some other names that might be Gary, Jerry, or Geraldine, or any of those derivatives from the names Gary or Jerry. And he said it could be you, somebody on the call, or it could be the person who's died. It doesn't have to, he doesn't know. It's just the name Gary or Jerry, very common names. And immediately two people claim it. One says, that's my son. He died on an island. He surfed and he died on an island. Okay, that's a woman. That's the person he called up, Nicole. So then he gets, oh, what's this about coconuts? Right. And then another person says, oh, that's my brother, I think she says, and he died in a motorcycle accident and something in the name of Jack. And he's like, oh, don't give me any names. Stop. I mean, I cut this part out, but he had just told these people, do not give me any more information other than what I've asked for. And these people start telling all this information. They just can't help themselves. Wow. And then, so he brings mother up on there. Oh, and there was a third person who said, yes, meaning it applies to me. And then the moderator, Elizabeth, says, you have to write in the chat box, which cracks me up. You have to write in the chat box, how does it relate to you? So possibly there are 3 people on this call. We don't, like I said, I don't know if there's 30 people here, 300 people, 3,000. Well, I doubt it's 3,000. That are on this call that are the pool of people that he's able to pull from. So he gets Nicole up there and he says, yeah, there was a lot of pain, but it was only there for like 2 seconds. So just don't worry about it, Mom. I know that's been on your mind a lot, that there was a lot of pain and he suffered. So I want to know about coconuts. Well, okay, he is talking to the woman who said that her son died on an island. So you would think there'd be coconuts associated, but she is struggling. She says, she's like, oh yeah. But do you think he means pineapples? No, he said coconuts, a pineapple and a coconut. Totally different things. I mean, yes, you can eat a coconut and you can eat a pineapple, and they both probably in areas that are tropical. But I think you wouldn't confuse a coconut to a pineapple. But the mom is trying so hard to make it make sense that she's willing to go with something else. Okay. Because she doesn't want, remember, these are people who are competing to get Mark Anthony's attention to get the reading. So they're more likely to find ways of making something fit, because otherwise he may just go, oh, no, it's not you. I'm moving on to somebody else. And they badly want to get this reading. Okay. So he's like, no, it's a coconut. And it doesn't mean it had to apply to him. It could apply to you. What does coconuts have to do with you? Okay, now think about that. You out there listening, you all that are out there listening right now, how could coconuts apply to you? I'm trying to think in my mind how coconuts could apply to me. I don't really like the smell of coconuts, but I could assume that there are like fragrances that have coconut. Oh, I have coconut oil in my bathroom. It's a little jar of coconut oil that I use, and I put it into my hair at night. I let it set so that it helps get rid of the frizzies and it's good for my scalp. And I let that soak. So there's coconut oil in there, and I did it maybe once a week. Okay, that's an association with coconuts. Maybe have I seen any coconuts lately? Have you guys seen any coconuts? Have you watched a movie that had coconuts in it? Did you have any fruit? I mean, any kind of dessert or anything that had coconut in it? I do have these two halves of a coconut that we cut in half and we scooped them all out and we made them. My sons and I, we love Monty Python, and you know the scene where they're like going like this with the coconuts, like horses' hoofs, and they're walking along with the horses' hoof coconuts. And so we used to watch that movie, and we would get the coconut halves and we'd make that sound because during the movie. So I have those on a shelf somewhere around here. I mean, that's going back 20 years or more. But yeah, I've seen them. They're on my shelf somewhere. And that is a very special memory to my children and I. Coconuts. So okay, so I've got at least three things I can think of off the top of my head that have to do with coconuts. Did I say three? At least two that I can think of, but there are so many possibilities. I don't think I've had coconut to eat in a while, but I like coconut and cookies and things like that. So I mean, it's possible, but no. All right. It's getting to the really good part. So now Mark Anthony is not positive he's with the right person. So he's, instead of losing this woman and going on to the other woman, he's going to do two things. First is he's going to try to bring Nicole's daughter onto the screen, who is also there in this gallery reading, but on a different screen, and see if she can figure out what coconuts have to do. But in case, oh, I get the hiccups. Why do I get the hiccups right when I'm talking to you guys? So he's going to bring her on. While they're bringing her on, he says, I will finish up with Nicole. And then I guess he's going to go on to this other woman who he thinks might be a better fit. But darn it, he's got a message for Nicole from some dead person. I don't know if it's the son. I don't know if it's who it is, but they want to tell her about her car tires. He smells them. He smells new car tires, that smell. Like the dead. All of their wisdom, infinite wisdom out there, the infinite amount of things they can talk about. And they want to talk about, Mom, you need to get new tires. I guess that's dangerous. Yeah, I know it could be dangerous. All new cars that I know of, my car is a 2018, and most cars that are newish, at least in the probably since 2015, are going to give you a warning saying, hey, your car pressure is getting low. You have, it's a thing on the screen that says, your car, you better watch out for your car tires. They need to be inflated or whatever. So, it'd have to be an older vehicle, I assume, that would tell you, not all fancy with computers and stuff in it, that would tell you that you would need a warning from your dead child about your car tires. Okay. I'm not making fun of these people because this is very traumatic, but oh my gosh, I can't. Okay, let's go back. I'm dying to see what happens. Okay, so we're at the tires. Sorry, everybody, for that long thing, but I'm watching this for the very first time, as you are as well. Okay.
Yes, please unmute, Nicole.
It keeps kicking me off. Sorry. I think it's a race car reference and tires, like the burning tires.
Okay, why do you say that?
He was into racing, and we just came back from a race a couple days ago.
Perfect. That'll work. Okay. Are you guys Catholic?
Yes.
Yeah, because he said Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and not in a facetious way. And that's one of my indicators for Catholic. Let me explain why that's so important. When a spirit gives me a message of an explanatory advisory nature, you saw about the tires. You said, well, we were just at a race. It could be a racetrack. All right. So the tires was the advice and explanation. But then when the spirit immediately follows that up with an objectively verifiable fact, you're Catholic, the verifiable fact that you're Catholic is how the spirit, in this case your son, is letting you and I know that we've properly received and interpreted the message before that. So that means he was with you at the races. So everybody, if I say verifiable fact following a message, we know we got it. Okay. Do you guys do bonfires? He's showing you with a bonfire, like a bunch of people standing around a bonfire. And
Yes.
you think of
Okay. Okay, we just have to pause. That is a verified fact. If you guys saw the other video that I have done or have attended one of my lectures where I show the clip of the Giuseppe clip, you'll know it. You'll know you've heard this clip because I've shown it a bunch of times. There's just no way you can get around Giuseppe, the Giuseppe clip from Mark Anthony. He is willing to take just about anything as a fact. It is bizarre. And so as I learn more about these mediums as I go, then in my mind, I'm thinking, oh, that's the one who hot reads. That's the one who's always talking about roses. That's the one who uses a lot of letters of the alphabet. They all have this different style. I'm starting to see that this guy, Mark Anthony, is willing to take any gibberish, anything out there as a verifiable fact. So because he knew she was Catholic and he didn't know she was Catholic, he asked her, are you Catholic? Right? Did you catch that? So Nicole says, yeah, I'm looking to see. She doesn't have a crucifix, but I was wondering if maybe she did. And her background's blurred, but it's a pretty reasonable guess that there's a lot of Catholics out there. And if it had been wrong, he might have said, oh, well, your son was leaning towards being Catholic, or, there's Catholics in your family, or I'm getting a message from somebody who's Catholic. I don't know. He could have gone many different directions with that, but it was a hit. So this is a verified fact. He knows that it's a verified fact that her son was with her when they went to the racetrack or went recently to the races, because Mark Anthony smelled new tires. Verified fact, you guys. My goodness gracious. Why do I do this to myself? Oh, Lord. Okay.
about him a lot when you're around the bonfire, and he appreciates that. It brings him to you. Now, that doesn't mean start building fires all the time. What that means is when you're focusing on him and concentrating, you're emitting an electromagnetic frequency that he picks up. Okay. And is that Natasha? You're his sister? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you changing tracks either in your career or education or something? Changing tracks.
That resonates with me.
I'm sorry?
That resonates with me, yes.
Okay, he said you made the right move. He said, what I always love about you is how level-headed you are and you think things through. You're not impulsive. You weigh like the pluses and minuses, the cost-benefit analysis of things, and then you make an informed decision. He said, unlike me, I was rather impulsive. He said, you're different than that, okay? You're different than that. And he wants to convey how much he loves both of you, okay? Now, I'm getting hit with coconuts from every direction, so I'm going to have to thank you, ladies, for stepping up to the plate.
The coconuts resonate with me, actually.
All right, in what way? Then we'll go to the other person with the coconuts. Go right ahead, Natasha.
I have a story with him where I threw a coconut at a tree and it hit him.
Oh, fantastic! Because coconuts, I'm getting pelted with coconuts. All right, hold on. He said he really deserved it. He ticked you off. He said, I'm not going to use the language he said, but you can fill in the blanks. He really punched your buttons, shall we say, and he's laughing about that. And he said, every time you see a coconut, think of me. Think of me. Ah, that's really sweet. So thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Nicole.
Can I add something?
Yeah, yeah.
When you said coconut, I forgot 2 weeks ago we were on a trip and I was at a restaurant. I would never order a drink in a coconut, and I ordered one, and it actually it said "be happy" on it, and I brought it home. I forgot.
All right. Well, and you see, those things happen. That's why I always tell people the reading's like a flower. It blooms, blossoms, unfolds, and it takes you time. Also, like, you're the first one up and it's kind of nerve-wracking. And, you get what we call psychic amnesia. But now do you see how the coconuts are so it's interesting. When I give the example about the Paisleys, now we got the coconuts. So both of you, thank you for the confirmation on the coconuts. Elizabeth, let me go to the next person with the coconuts. I'm going to try to get to as many people as possible. I want to thank both of you so.
Okay, I got to finish writing this down because even though I am not in the situation that this is happening, and I have the luxury of stopping and starting and pausing and all that, and I'm not emotionally attached to all this, I'm still losing track. So I have to take notes. It's imagine what it's like to be one of these sitters and tied up in the emotion of that you're hearing from your son or your brother. Okay, Sister Natalia. Okay, and her first and last name were on the screen, and they were very unusual names. If you were hot reading, if Mark Anthony was hot reading, he could find that woman. He could find her on social media in a heartbeat. It would be super easy. He could go to Ancestry and put this name in here. Her last name is Nichaus, and her first name is even spelled differently. He could find the obituary she would be mentioned in. He could find Ancestry, her parents, her grandparents, her great grandparents, cousins. It would be super easy to find information on this woman if he was hot reading, which he appears he is not hot reading. And if what generally happens with the hot readers is there's a lot of names on the screen, and in the lull, in that time that is like where they're being introduced or whatever, or they're waiting for the thing to start, the readings to start, they themselves or one of their helpers can look up these people's information on a different screen and get some details and then be able to come back in. It just takes maybe 5 minutes or something like that. And I would do that, but I feel kind of unethical. It's kind of unethical to do it live for you guys because her family members aren't part of this, and he is obviously not hot reading. So, okay. Before I forget my train of thought. Okay. So he's talking about a bonfire. Do you do bonfires? I don't remember what the mother said. Maybe she said sometimes or something like that. And he's like, well, whenever you do bonfires, and he's with you at that time, whatever that means. So this woman's going to be, if it was me and that was true, I'd have a bonfire all day long and I'd be sitting there. Okay. And something about, and I wrote this down wrong, but this is what I wrote, electromagnetic something gibberish nonsense stuff. This guy's supposed to be an attorney. Okay. So Mark Anthony wants to move on to another person who he thinks is associated with coconuts, and that Nicole is got no coconut stories. So he's like trying to hurry them out, right? We saw that. So before he does, then the daughter gets up there, Natalia, and she's like, "Oh no, that's my brother." And he says to her, "Are you changing tracks or changing, I guess, your studies or where you're going to go or whatever? Are you changing over and trying to do something different or whatever?" This is a woman in her 20s. Hello. Every student, everybody who looks like they could be high school or college age or whatever, hasn't got it figured out what they're doing with their lives. That's how it is. Heck, I'm 63 and I'm still trying to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And so this, of course, she's got that's like a Barnum statement. That fits everybody that what he just said. Absolutely. goodness gracious, should she get married? Should she not get married? Should she try to have children? Is she interested in a career? What kind of college does she want to do? What subject does she want to study? Does she want to go to, should she take this job? Should she move out of town? Should she move her place of residence? Should she move in with a partner, a roommate, stay by herself, leave or stay with her parents? I mean, there's so many decisions going on in these heads. It's so confusing for them. So then she starts thinking about it. He's ready to go, and he's like ready to move on to this next person because he's getting pelted with coconuts, Mark Anthony. And he says, she says, oh no, I know, I have a memory now. I threw coconuts at my brother. He goes, oh, well, that makes sense because he's saying I deserved it. See how quick these people are on their feet, thinking fast? Okay. And then he's trying to move on again. Mark Anthony's trying to move on again. And then the mother, she remembers now, she went to a restaurant and I think she had a coconut drink. Is that what it was? And then on the drink, on the cup, it said, be happy. And she kept the drink, she kept the cup, and she has it at home there. And she normally doesn't drink anything with coconut, I think is what she said. Therefore, this fits the scenario of her son reaching out and mentioning coconuts. It's so sad, you guys. Look at the extreme that this mother and sister went to be able to say, we have verifiable fact that my brother or my son came through in this reading with Mark Anthony. Absolutely. There's no way he could have known any of that information before. Absolutely not. But what he did is just threw it about a few different facts: coconuts, the smell of new tires, a surfboard, a quick death. And they fit all of that in. Plus, there's another woman who's about to be on the call. I guess we'll stay for that because we want to see what ends up happening. And it fits her too. So, do you guys see? Do you understand? When they leave this reading, when that mother and daughter leave and go on with their day and tell all their friends and family and everybody they meet, I had this reading from the psychic medium named Mark Anthony. He was freaking amazing. He knew stuff that there's no way anybody could know. But you know what I'm going to say, those of you who watch my channel. What is missing? What's missing? Any names at all. He didn't know that his sister was on the call until the mother said she was there. And what happened to Jerry or Gary? What happened to those? What about this traumatic accident? What was it? Can you tell us what happened? Was it an accident like he did something really stupid? Like, I don't know, think of all the thousands of things that a 20-year-old person could have done that would be stupid, that would be a quick death. Lots of them. Being on an island doesn't mean he was at the beach. He could have been on the island somewhere. Hawaii's a big island, or I should say Oahu is a big island. If he was on Oahu, he could be not near the beach. He could just be, inside Honolulu, and he did something stupid, and that was that. It could have been a lot of things, but none of that's mentioned. And no, what about other siblings? Does he have a message for other siblings besides the sister he says, you were always the one who thought things out, and I was very impulsive, and that's the only message he has. Oh, he says, I love you both very much. What about the other siblings? Are there other siblings? What about the dad? He doesn't love them very much. No message for dad or anybody else? Grandma, grandpa? His girlfriend or boyfriend? No messages for them? Just you two because you showed up? See what I'm saying? if you tell this message to people later and you say, oh yeah, he came through, there was absolutely verifiable evidence that it was our son or brother, and he said he loved us very much. There are people, maybe the son had a child. He was in a relationship and he had a small child at the time he died. No message for that child? How do you think that would feel to know that this person was in contact with this loved one that you want so badly to hear from, and he has no message for you? See, it just hurts. I think it would hurt. I would think it would hurt a lot. It's not like you can get a reading from Mark Anthony easily or cheaply. Okay, let's move on to the next person he's so excited to get to, because this person is going to have a lot to do with coconuts, right? Okay, let's do this and then we'll be done. Hopefully there's not a third person after that.
Very much. And thank
so
you.
much. That was wonderful. So I'm going back to the chat to find out who it was with the coconuts. Yes, it's Vicky Olson. So I'll go ahead and unmute or ask Vicky to unmute. Just 1 second, please. There we go. Ask to unmute. And it looks like there's 2 of you, but the one that I think is correct is the one with the.
Yeah, I can't get it off my phone.
Oh, you can off your phone. Okay. So can you wave to me so that I can find you, Vicky? I hear you. Where are you? Oh, Vicky,
Yeah,
can you hear me? Can you wave to me?
I'm waving.
Oh, there you are. I got you. Okay. I'm adding a spotlight. Good job. Thank you.
Hey, Vicky, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay, coconuts, a young male. Okay, how do the coconuts make sense? And I assume this is your son.
Yes, my
Okay.
son.
Go ahead. How do the coconuts make sense?
He was a waiter at Cha Cha Coconuts in
That'll work. That's all I need. That's all I need. Yeah, we want to avoid the Dwight D. Eisenhower. All right, everybody. Vicky did it right. Okay, so hold on. I don't say this lightly, but he says, I got my wings. I got my wings. And he's holding up, you know how pilots have those little insignia with the wings? That's what he's holding up. But the wings are now transforming into an image of St. Christopher. Now, I was raised in the Catholic faith, but I consider myself interfaith. And when I get images of saints, it's not about the religion, it's about the symbology. An image of St. Christopher can mean a couple different things, Vicky. It can mean someone of significance connected to you or your son by the name of Chris, Christopher, or Christine, or it could mean you just got back from a trip, or you're getting ready to go on a trip, or you're planning a trip. Does anything there make sense?
We've just got back from a lot of places. Yes.
There you go. So that means he's aware of that. And hold on. Ow. I'm getting this pain in my Achilles tendon of my right foot. Did he have an issue with that, or is that something going on with you or someone close to you? I'm getting it's my Achilles tendon.
No.
Be careful with the no. What's going on with your feet?
My feet, plantar fasciitis.
Bingo. See, when I say, how does that make sense to you? And I'm not picking on you specifically, this is for everybody. It is not always, the information transmitted by a spirit is not always about the spirit. They can be talking about you. So think globally, okay? Because everybody gets hyper-focused on the spirit. Now, is this your right foot that you're having the problem with?
Yes.
Excuse me. Yes. But are you also developing some issues now in your left foot?
Yeah, I've had it kind of.
You guys doing this with this seriousness. He absolutely is just coming out there and just, he could be picking random words out of a random word generator and just with confidence, he's just saying them and people are falling for it. He said, Mark Anthony said that he is being pelted with coconuts. He says, coconuts, coconuts, coconuts. There's got to be a connection of coconuts. They're just all over throwing or whatever. And she says, yep, that's my son, because he was a waiter at Cha Cha Coconuts. Does that have anything to do at all with somebody throwing coconuts? I mean, are you a waiter is that how they get your attention at Cha Cha Coconuts? They throw things at you, throw coconuts at you. I mean, those aren't the same thing. They're not even remotely the same. See how she's making this fit? This is just bizarre. And then he says, this means, he says, I see the phrase, I got my wings, and he's holding up like a little insignia with wings, like a pilot's wings. Nothing really happens with that now. She's wearing a crucifix. Okay. He says, he mentions Catholic. And he says, but that doesn't mean anything, because it could be Saint Christopher, and Saint Christopher can mean somebody whose name is Christopher, or Christine. How does that apply to you? Or it could mean, see how he just goes on before she gets a chance to say something about one of those very common names, Christopher, or Christine, very common names. Or planning a trip, just gone on a trip, or just about to go on a trip. Planning a trip could be, I just looked at airfare for a flight to Paris, even though I have no intention whatsoever going to Paris, but I just happened to be looking to see how expensive it would be. Just a fantasy that maybe if I won the lottery, I would go on a cruise around the world. I wonder what it would cost to go on a cruise around the world. I will just take a peek. Would that count as somebody who's planning a vacation or a trip? And she, oh my gosh, what a shock. She just came back from a bunch of places. Achilles tendon. Achilles tendon. What am I getting at this Achilles tendon? No, I don't have anything to do with Achilles tendon. What's wrong with your foot? She goes, oh, I didn't write it down, but it's the buildup on the foot, like the something on the foot that's not have anything to do with your tendon. Your Achilles tendon or anything like that. It is nothing to do with that, from what I understand. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not a podiatrist, and neither is this guy. He's like, is it your right foot? And she immediately says yes. Now, this is an old wise tale, right? I mean, a wise tale. This is an old mentalism trick, magician trick. They say, you have a scar on your knee. And they say, yes, I do. And they say, it's your right knee. And then they say, actually, it's my left knee. And then because they're sitting across from or standing across, no, it's your right knee. That's your left, but it's my right. So she said, yeah, it was a right knee, but whatever. And now he's like, what's going on with your other foot? So her dead son, who was a waiter at Cha Cha Coconuts, has come back from the great beyond to throw coconuts at Mark Anthony to get attention so that his mother would come through and he could tell her this amazing piece of wisdom about her feet. Gosh, I hope this is almost over. You're thinking the same thing.
In both feet.
Yeah. So he's bringing this up. Now, what this means is he's around you and aware of what's happening. Have you been, is there a surgical consult or surgery that you've kind of been putting off on this?
No, not yet. I just work with it.
So the answer really should be yes, because you work with it because you're avoiding surgery, and he's telling you to go for a surgical consult. Okay. That doesn't mean you have to get surgery, but he's telling you, he goes, Mom, come on. He goes, what would you tell me? You'd make him go to the doctor. So he's telling you to do that. Now he keeps talking about poison ivy, poison ivy, poison ivy. Now, We probably all encountered poison ivy, but is there something about ivy or poison ivy could be connected to him or could be connected to you in any way, Vicky? If I say poison ivy, what comes to your mind? Don't worry about how it applies to him. Poison ivy, what immediately hits you?
Our cabin,
And why do you say that?
because there's poison ivy there.
Well, there you go. See, number one, I don't know you have a cabin. Number two, I don't know that it has poison ivy, but he does. Is there been a problem with water supply, plumbing, or some type of issue with water at the cabin? The reason being is he showed me a faucet. It's just drip, drip, drip. And it's like, oh, the well has gone dry, or there's some issue with water supply.
Um, no, not at the cabin. We just we lost our whole house and all our cars.
In what?
Hurricane Helene.
And that was due to what substance?
Hurricane.
Water.
Yeah, flooded our whole house and
Okay. Just so that you understand, like I said, when I give my private readings, I give a 15-minute explanation. If I'm getting an issue with water and your house was destroyed by water from a hurricane, that's an issue with water. You see what I'm saying? So that means he's aware of what has happened to you. He said the well has run dry. So that could be a metaphor for like the house is gone. He said, but it will be rebuilt. It will be rebuilt. And he's showing you a rebuilding. Does that make sense to you?
yes, we're in the middle of that.
Well, there you go. Okay, so he knows this. And what's really interesting is he said that because of his passing, it gave you a completely new perspective on material things. Like losing the house, yes, it was horrible, it was painful, but you looked at it as it's just a house. And
Yeah.
he wants to thank you for your perspective. And he is explaining to me that you are a very pragmatic and a very wise woman. And you, instead of collapsing under the weight of tragedy, including his passing, it's like you absorb the pain and the lessons, but you grow from it. And he's explaining, Vicky, that coping with his physical passing has been such a major growth experience in your life. And I'm not saying that growth feels good and it's wonderful, but he's explaining how much you have grown. And he also talks about you having become a facilitator. Do you and I know that we're all here because of helping parents heal and to help each other, but do you like head up a group or do you facilitate some type of group with other Shining Light parents?
No, I don't.
Interesting. You're headed in that direction. You're headed in that direction because of the wisdom that you've gotten. And now he's making me taste pistachios and pistachio ice cream. Does that make sense to you in any shape, form, or fashion?
Yes,
In
pistachio.
what?
It
In
was
what pistachios? Go ahead.
we eat them a lot.
Remember, verifiable fact following the message? Ba-boom, that's yours. You're going to end up being a facilitator of a group of other Shining Light parents, and it's going to help them, but as importantly, it's going to help you as well. Oh, and what's with all the horses? He showed me a lot of horses. Who likes horses?
Horses.
Hold on. Before we no. Horses can mean a couple things. Can mean people like horses, images of horses, but sometimes horses are one of my triggers for gambling. It could mean, hey, we went to a casino or, we like, playing the lottery, but that could mean that as well. Anything there?
All I can think of is his sister would like horses when she gets a house. That's
Well,
all I can.
that would be a yes, wouldn't it? See, another part of the no syndrome is hyperanalysis, where you take a beautiful message and analyze it into oblivion. If I say horses and his sister wants to get horses when she gets a house, The answer is yes, because I have no idea that his sister likes horses, but he does. And the thing is, you need to let her know that's going to be a reality for her. All right. So he's blowing you a kiss, blowing you a kiss, and I'll let you go. Thank you so much, Vicky.
Can I say one thing?
Certainly.
Just for all the other parents on here, you know, we lost everything in our home. Our cars. My daughter lost everything, our daughter. And I don't think that if our son wouldn't have passed, that I would have the same feelings I do as you spoke about. None of that matters. And
It,
it's a sad thing to realize that because you lost your child, but none of it matters.
well, you see, that's exactly what he was talking about with how you are growing. And the fact what you just said facilitated so many parents here. You know, a house is an emotional thing. It's our home. We love it, even though it's a material object and it can't love us back. But you know what is truly important is life and the people in our lives. And your son is in spirit. And because of his passing, that put things in a perspective that really only you shining light parents can really understand. So Vicky, I want to thank you for being so courageous. See, your son really thinks of a lot of you, and he's right. He's right. You're really cool, Vicky. God bless you.
Oh,
Thank
Vicky, thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. And these have been wonderful.
That was so much. I'm glad I'm done. It's done. It's done. We might look at this guy again. All right. So there's nothing about wings, unless they served wings at the Cha-Cha Coconuts place where he was a waiter. I was curious because how did he know that the son died and then the hurricane happened and they lost everything? Could it have been the other way around? When was Hurricane Helene? Was that recent? I don't really remember. I don't know. He just took a guess, probably, because again, we don't know this child's name. We don't know any specifics about how he died. I think she said in the chat box that her son fell 3 stories out of a building. I think that's what she said. Whenever they were, and he goes, "Oh, wait, I don't want to hear anything else. I want to go to the other woman." And that was the Nicole person. So I think this is her. He never mentions it again. Like, why did he fall? Was he messing around? Did he do it on purpose? Was he trying to break in? Was he trying to break out? I mean, what do we don't know, right? Okay. Very emotional for this mother. She's gone through a lot of trauma. And your heart just goes out to these people who are trying so badly to make a connection to their child that is gone. And her message to everybody there was, hey, everybody, we lost everything in this hurricane, everything, cars, everything, but losing your child is way worse. What a message. I'm sure nobody has thought about that before. Yeah, losing your child dying, especially young age, is a lot more important and a bigger deal than losing everything in your a hurricane, and then you're eventually able to rebuild and you have a cabin. Just saying, I didn't know that was a thing, but gosh, man, I've learned something today. I understand the mother's in a lot of grief and she's just saying what she's saying, but that applies to everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Vicky, for letting us know. Okay. All right. So this guy, Mark Anthony, is just so awful. He is saying anything that even slightly hits to what he said, he says is a hit. And he's like victim blaming these people because they're not like getting with it really quick. Come on, man. I said something's wrong with your foot, and you're saying, well, I do have some buildup on my feet and it's bugging me. And well, why haven't you gone in for surgery consult? Why are you putting off the surgery? And she's like, well, I'm just dealing with it. It's not that big a deal. no, your son wants you to go talk to a surgeon. You don't have to do the surgery, but he wants you to talk to the surgeon about this. I think she's got some other stuff to deal with right now. I mean, come on. All right. So it gets into the weeds of this medical stuff that these psychics say they don't give medical advice, but I see this creep in places, and some more obvious than others, but definitely he he that seems harmless, right? It seems harmless that he said, Mom, go and get a surgery consult on your foot. But what is missing? What is missing is that the according to Mark Anthony, the only thing wrong with the health of the mother is her foot. Get this? Follow me on this. So if she has been having, I don't know, pain in her breast, or her heartbeat feels, like it's not, the rhythm doesn't feel right, or she's having serious problems sleeping, or maybe she's addicted to a medication or something, a drug of some sort besides a prescription medication, or maybe she's, she's due for all of her screenings, her breast exams, pap exams, all that stuff. And she's just been putting it off because life has just been crazy because her son died, and he was a very young man, and they've lost everything and they have to rebuild. So she's putting off stuff. She's probably just dealing with it because that's what moms do. But because Mark Anthony said the only thing that's wrong with you is your foot, how likely is it, do you think this woman in her massively busy schedule is going to say, I should probably go get that other stuff checked out? Those heart palpitations, or, maybe I need to address my addiction, or I haven't got my prescriptions refilled. I just let it last, and I'll get it done later for whatever medication she's supposed to be taking for her diabetes or for her high blood pressure or something like that. Because Mark Anthony said everything is good except for my feet. See, that's what the mom's thinking. Good. I don't have to go for my breast exam. I don't have to have that colonoscopy that I'm like 2 years overdue on. Everything's good. Right? If you got that far into this video, congratulations. I tend to ramble, but it does. It takes a lot of time to break these things down. And I am hoping that I will see in the comments under this video some of your comments. I appreciate it because I'm just seeing it for the first time. You guys might have seen it for the first time for as well. I think I wanted to say something else too that I've probably missed. It seems like I was thinking that there was, again, I think when he came to Vicky, seems like, wasn't there a third mom he was trying to just put off to the side and say, I'll get to you later, that also connected? Something like that. I'm trying to remember. Like I said, I can't make I'm trying not to go back and rewatch it. I'm trying to go with it for the first time as if we're just sitting there in the audience, like one of these other gallery readers. Oh, you can kind of judge how many people are on the call because she's having trouble finding people to unmute them and to pin them onto the screen. But she's not having that much trouble. It's not like she's got screen after screen after screen after screen. And I think, what is it? 25 people fit on a screen. She's probably got 2 or 3 screens she's looking for through, and she's trying to see, she wants them to wave so that she's able to see which person it is to pin. So it's not like a massive amount of people. I think it's probably 50 people on this call. So when you get into the rule of large numbers, what Mark Anthony's doing is you throw out something that seems very specific, and you've got a group of 20, 30 people, it's going to hit somebody, or you just move on. Like, we still never got back with Jerry or Gary. That's never come up anywhere. And he said other stuff that didn't make sense. Let me see. Gosh, I've forgotten after all this time. The surfboard, Well, I guess it fits somebody. We never really heard traumatic. I don't know. Da, da, da. So, and he kind of blames people for not getting it right away. And the mother is not really getting anything specific. So he wants them to reach for it, really go for it. Okay. All right. Poison ivy, poison ivy. What does that got to poison ivy? Just don't even think about it. Just tell me what poison ivy is. Isn't that a character in one of these movies that's Mattel or whatever those movies that are coming out now? That I think there's a character called Poison Ivy. She's very popular, very pretty, dressed in greens and stuff like that. It's a character. So I was thinking of that one. And then, poison ivy is just a thing. You see it, you hear about it. Your neighbor just had it. The dog brings it home. All right. So if your dead child, your dead son is trying to communicate with you, do you think he would throw out poison ivy as a way for you to know it's him? No, of course not. But Mark Anthony says that's a hit. And what's this about water? Water at the cabin, drip, drip, drip. There's water at the cabin. Something problems with the water at the cabin. The well is dry. Something's wrong with the water at the cabin. She's like, no, but at home we've had some problems. Oh yeah, tell me about it. Well, there was this hurricane that came through and took out my entire house, our cars and everything. And he's like, well, what's that made of? And she's like, he's like, isn't that water damage? Isn't that water? Yeah, I guess so. Also has a lot of wind and a lot of things. Odd that no psychic predicted that hurricane or anything of the sort, because they could have gotten their cars and everything out of it in time. And there'd be less things that, the house would still be gone, but they could have made sure that they got more of their belongings out and their cars and took off with them if they'd known that there was going to be a hurricane and they were going to lose their house. But no psychic warned them. Her son didn't tell her. She should have gotten a reading with him. He says, if you get a private reading from me, I will spend 15 minutes making it make sense to you. Oh, gee, I would love to be mansplained by Mark Anthony, and I pay for it. Wouldn't that be a thrill? So no, he does not notice at all. The son doesn't mention a hurricane or the name Helene. I think it's Helene, Helene. He doesn't mention Helene at all. He just says poison ivy and water damage. That is supposed to be enough. Water, drip, drip, drip. Let's look at this up. When was Hurricane Helene? Okay, so I have a Wikipedia article, 2024. So it just happened. So I think it's logical. The odds are with him to say that the son died before 2024, but not necessarily. And this was in September. So, this is in September 2024, Hurricane Helene. Well, this video is December of 2024. So they're already rebuilding. That's pretty awesome. She's already rebuilding. Wow. Where was it mainly? I don't remember. There's been so many lately. Yukon Peninsula, Honduras, Cuba, Tennessee, Georgia, Carolinas, Florida. So who needs weathermen when we have the dead to tell us, warn us? Well, actually, they're not. Okay. So drip, drip, drip. Water at the cabin. Well has dried means hurricane happened. And that's how the son is communicating that he knows about the hurricane. Gosh, this is just awful. I mean, really? And he keeps saying this thing. He keeps saying, Mark Anthony keeps saying, I didn't know you had a cabin. So therefore, what I said was accurate. All you said, dude, was poison ivy. That's it. You didn't say anything about a cabin. And he says, I didn't know your house was destroyed in the water. So therefore, this is verifiable evidence. Oh my gosh. Your son is saying it will be rebuilt. She goes, yeah, we're in the process of rebuilding it now. 2 months later, that's 3 months later. That's really, really good. I thought it took a lot longer than that. I mean, you got to draw plans and everybody's busy and there's so much going on. This isn't like the Amish community where everybody just comes over and everybody just rebuilds in an afternoon and without permits and they just build it. You have to get construction crews in, you got to get the funding, you've got to get loans, you've got to get the plans redrawn. How are you going to do this? 3 months, that's pretty darn good. She says they're in the middle of the rebuild now. Okay, continuing with Vicki Olson. He's saying, you're going to be a facilitator. She's like, no, I'm not a facilitator. He says, you're going to work with these other parents who've lost their children. She's like, no, I'm not. And he's like, yes, you are. Your son is telling me, and that you have a new perspective on your son's death now that you've lost your house and you've lost your son, and you have a new perspective. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think the mom has probably got a new perspective, don't you think? And she has grown. Yeah, I think she probably has. I think she probably has new insight in what's important to her in life. Yes. She's probably wondering why, if she should continue with her belief in a God, considering they've taken her son and they've destroyed her house and everything they possessed, and she's still a believer in, apparently, but okay. I can never say this word right. Picasso. You're going to make fun of me, right? Pistachio ice cream. Why does that mean something? Vicky, why does that mean something? She goes, oh yeah, well, we eat a lot of pistachios. Yeah, he said so. No, you said pistachios, and then you went pistachio ice cream. So, but she relates to, well, we do eat a lot of pistachios here at the house. And horses. What's this about horses? Somebody with a horse, something about horses, a picture of a horse. He's laughing. I'm sorry. And she says, I don't know. And he says, well, it might not mean horses. It might not mean a horse. It might mean gambling or playing the lottery, because that's also what it means. She's like, well, his sister says she likes horses, but when she gets her own house, she'd like to have a horse. He's like, see, that's verifiable truth. I didn't know that. I had no idea your daughter wants to have a horse when she has a house. I'm just getting the chills. That's so accurate. He says, this is what happens when you have the no syndrome. He said that a couple of times. No syndrome. The answer is yes. I got to put quotes on that. That's hilarious. The no syndrome. The answer is yes. Oh, man. And Vicky has a message on the call saying losing your child is more important than losing everything in the hurricane. Okay, all right. So this is all cold reading, nothing hot. It is blatant, awful cold reading. He's just throwing stuff out there and he is having a hard time. He's really just trying to squeeze it in there of how it could possibly relate. I'm going to have to go through this and watch the other ones. If you guys want me to, it's hard to do, but I'm telling you, this is difficult. This is why I can only watch these things one time, because it's just too difficult to watch it a second time after I know what's going to happen. And I don't like cutting these videos up. I don't want to show the video and like chop it up to get the highlights, because you kind of have to have the whole the whole context of what's going on before you can really understand what it must be like to get a reading from this man and what's probably going on in the minds of the parents. The it's just very difficult to be in the situation where these moms are. See, she was crying at the end. She's tearing up and she's trying to talk to the other parents. And when you may have been a very critical thinking kind of person for most of your life, but then when you're put into a position of grief like this, things just it's not you're not thinking right. Like if you've had a really horrible loss, you've lost your job in a very surprise move that you didn't see coming, or you have a health issue that's just overwhelming, either you or your parent or a child, or a breakup. Somebody breaks up with you, or you have to break up with them, a long-term marriage, or even a recent breakup. Something happens to your brain and you just not necessarily thinking right. Some people are okay, but especially when it's sudden and you don't have the time to process it, it can be overwhelming and you're not thinking straight. And that's why they say don't make any big decisions after a big change in your life like that, at least for a year. Don't sign any documents. Don't try to sell anything. Don't move. Don't make any major decisions for a long time, maybe even a year, and do so with guidance, because you're just not thinking as clearly as you should, and you're going to regret what those decisions you make, because not only are you going to make bad decisions, but people are going to prey on you because they know you're in a very vulnerable situation right now. So people may end up seeing that, predators, they'll see that and they'll come into your life and say, I'll make everything okay. I will take care of you. Just hand over your credit card to me. I'll take care of all of that for you. Don't worry. I'm here for you. Your son sent me. Again, no mention of the guy's name. And what that had to do with coconuts, other than he worked at a restaurant that had coconut in the name, no idea. This guy is awful, just awful. And he's still in business. I think he just does it with confidence, machismo. I have a law degree, and listen to me, women. You women, you listen to me. I think that's what's going on. All right, comments, like, subscribe. Please let me know what you think. Yes, this video is long, but that's how it is. You guys, we can't just sit there and watch a video and then just go through it in a couple minutes. We got to dig into it. There's meat. We got to pick away at the meat on the bone of this thing and figure out what's going on. So a lot going on, and all these mediums are a little bit different from each other. So thank you for joining me today. It is, I think I've stalled long enough. I can go to bed now. I have all those other tasks I didn't do today, the last hour or so, because I spent it with you. Thank you all.